Lisa Bodenburg, I'm a Staff Sergeant in the Marine Corps. I am a helicopter door gunner on Hueys. My first squadron was tough, and it wasn't the pilots. You know, the enlisted and officers are separated for the vast majority of our day and our jobs, unless we're in the helicopter. And then once we're in the helicopter doing our job, obviously it's a cohesive working environment. But my first unit was extremely difficult. I dealt with, now looking back, I can recognize that it was incredible hazing. But I never wanted to say anything. I never wanted to speak up because I was afraid of being the black sheep. My second unit was the complete opposite, and it is now and forever will be my home unit. I had the most incredible leadership. So after Afghanistan, when we came back, I had to have a couple of surgeries on my leg. And after my last surgery, my flight surgeon told me I would never run again. So I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps, which was a real kick in the gut. But several years later, I ended up rehabilitating myself through boxing. And I got a call from the prior service recruiter, and I came back in. I had healed myself. And not only did I pass my physical fitness test, but I got a 300, as well as I got my UPCHIT again, which means it's basically Naval Aviation Medical Institute, the standards medically to fly. I passed and I was allowed to fly again. So now for years, from 2016 to 2020, I'm back in the Marine Corps. I've earned my qualifications back. I'm now an instructor. It was humbling and fantastic to feel needed again, and to be able to come in on orders all the time. So that's where I was when the COVID vaccine mandate came out. And it had been talked about for a while. And then when it finally came down and that MAR admin came out, it was as if I was back in 2010 all over again, getting told that the Marine Corps is going to get taken from me again. But this, as I said, this time I'm much stronger in my faith. You know, I'm a different human, I'm a different Christian, I'm a different woman, and I'm a different Marine. And I knew that the vaccine was not for me. Now, I'm not against vaccines. I'm not against other people choosing to get that vaccine or any other vaccine, but I am for choice. And that is one of the biggest things that I stand for, and I believe that we fight for in the military, specifically the United States Marine Corps. And when you take our freedom of choice from us, I was put in a position that I felt I was being forced to choose between my God and my Corps. And that's really the only thing that I've ever could have faced that I would have chosen over the Marine Corps. So my choice to not get vaccinated sent me down a path of extreme horror, depression, isolation. I was ostracized from my command. And as I just explained, I went from being so welcomed and needed and a part of a team to my own XO who passed me in the hallway and wouldn't even look at me. But I stayed faithful to what I knew was right for me. And I just continued to put one foot in front of the other. And here we are, by the grace of God. I mean, it was David and Goliath. It was our real life, everyday David and Goliath. And I had no belief that I would come out victorious. And we did. You know, we've discussed a lot of my trials and tribulations throughout the years, specifically surrounding the Marine Corps. And because of all of those, I have found selfishly, in order to heal myself, I would help others. So here I am now in such a positive place in my life and just feeling so blessed, and everything is going wonderfully. And I go to the Army-Navy game. I met up with my buddy Thomas, whom I had known from the academy. We were both at the Naval Academy at the same time. Thomas told me a little bit about Lazy Lab and a little bit about the owner, Matt. And during the tailgate, he said, come on over and I'd love to introduce you. So I did. I found the Lazy Lab tailgate, and I went over and just was kind of just hanging out and talking to Thomas, and Matt came over and we were introduced. Told him just a little bit about my story and who I was, and Matt was very excited to hear that and wanted to discuss further about the option of me possibly coming to a Lazy Lab event and speaking to the veterans. So that's where we met, and then a few short weeks later, he contacted me, and so did Thomas, and discussed me going on a hunt. I was still under the impression that I'd be going on this hunt as an advocate. It wasn't until I was in the vehicle, after much logistics and coordination, I was in the vehicle on the drive up to Paso Robles when the Lazy Lab liaison and I were talking, and he said to me, "Oh no, you're a nominee." And I was like, "Excuse me? I'm not going to speak to other." He's like, "No, you are the veteran." So I was pretty pissed because I don't like to receive. I like to give and to help and to aid others. So that's kind of how it all started, and I'm already in the car on the way up there, so I called Matt and I told him what was going on, and I had a conversation with him and had a conversation with Thomas and told him how pissed I was. And it all worked out fantastic. It was an incredible group. We had an incredible time together. I feel like there's this part of veterans that we feel the need to hide, maybe speak a little bit more delicately when we're around civilians. It's just two very different worlds. So when you get a group of vets together, we can let our guard down and we can talk about anything we need to. And specifically on my hunt, one of the gentlemen there really opened up about some issues that he's been having. And I think it was fantastic because he got to hear that he's not alone. And I think that's the key, is that veterans specifically have this sense of responsibility that we are supposed to be strong 24/7, because we were for so long. Think about a deployment where there is no room for feelings, there is no room for emotion, there is no room for anything other than strict adherence to orders, knowing your job implicitly, and making quick decisions appropriately at a moment's notice. So you have to be strong. But when you come home, it's okay to set down your pack. It's okay to talk about those things that you think don't make you strong. Because truthfully, I've found strength in vulnerability. There is been an epidemic since I can remember of 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. And from somebody who understands those feelings and those thoughts, for me, the biggest thing was the sense of identity that we can lose. You lose this brotherhood. Every single day, you are a part of something bigger than yourself. Every single day, you're getting the ability to serve at an incredible level. When that gets taken from you, you find yourself thinking and feeling, well, who am I without that branch? And what's my purpose? Then that can lead to, why do I exist? The importance of camaraderie is paramount. I truly can't put it into words, but what I can put into words is the devastation it causes when it's ripped from you. One of the things that was clear as day while I was out there was the peace. That's something that I don't know I've ever experienced in my life. And if I have, it was so long ago I don't remember. But there was a moment where I was the one hunting. And we had to track down the animals, and then they were moving, and we had to move quickly, make quick decisions again, almost putting me back in, you know, kind of like that muscle memory, that reflex of quick decisions, quick thinking, think on your feet, knowing what to do. There was nothing else on my mind. Matt actually caught that moment on video and asked me, "What are you thinking right now?" And I was almost taken back, and I said, "Nothing." It was pure peace that was such a relief from the everyday world. That was magical. That was a deep breath that I didn't know I needed. I think the reason why I continue with Lazy Lab, it wasn't just you go on a hunt and then you're done. There's a family that he's creating. Matt and everyone that works with Lazy Lab wants to see you again. And that's the difference between Lazy Lab and other veterans organizations. There are hundreds of organizations and they do fantastic things for veterans. But it usually is that one event and then they move on to help the next veteran. Lazy Lab doesn't move on from you. They bring you into the fold. That's the camaraderie we're missing.